Well, here we go again. I'm Jo, Stitchy Cat Lady 26, and this is Flosstube number 2. Who knew this was going to happen today? A few thank yous. Firstly, to everybody who watched Flosstube number 1. I've had over 200 views and 48 subs, and I'm just completely overwhelmed by that. It's pretty unexpected. Thank you to Carrie, DNA Geek Crafts, for the enthusiastic shout out, and for Lexi for being adorable. Also to the Coven, Standard and Extended, for all the advice and technical help. I'll pop some links down below. And Rogue Mama Stitcher, Amber, for liking absolutely everything on my Instagram. Right, so let's get started on some whip progress. I've only worked on 4 projects this last couple of weeks, so it shouldn't take very long. First one is Sapphire Cat, the Mill Hill Beads kit. So I've finished all the stitching on the cat. I made a good start on the border, so there's just back stitch on the cat, finish this 2 bits of the border, and then beads. The needle minder is from Denkai Designs. And candlesticks, I've managed to get a little bit behind on this one, so we're now, I've got part 4 done, bar a little bit of back stitch, but part 5 is already out, which is up here, where the candles are purple. So I'll have a look at that. And this fabulous little lizard, who I think is pretty hungry for that spider. Cryptids stitch along that we're doing with the Coven. Finally managed to get part 4, the Jersey Devil, done, and a little bit of this bit is on part 5 and part 6. Both of those parts are out now, which part 5 is Chupacabra, part 6 is the Hopkinsville Goblin, which I've never heard of, but he looks kind of cute. So we've got Chupacabra and the Hopkinsville Goblin. So they're going to be fun to do. And finally we have my gorgeous girl, Spider's Queen by Little Fairy Art, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I've basically done around this finger now. So there we go. I've used up some of the part thread here and done the fingernail. For some of the events in some of my games, we just needed numbers. We needed to get some of those high numbers, so a block of black seemed like the way to go. Right, well, that's it for whips. That didn't take long. So now, I mentioned last week that I still had the very first cross stitch that I did, which was a Mother's Day card for my nan. So I thought I'd show that to you. And this is it. It came as a cover kit on Cross Stitching magazine. I mean, we're going back 28 years. I did change the fabric because this is 16 count, maybe even 18. Funny story was I got the blues mixed up and I showed my aunt and she commented that the sky looked a bit nuclear because it was this really bright blue that's actually in the doorway. So I had to frog on my very first project. These are not in order, so I thought I'd show you some of my other older projects that I've had back from various people, but also 4 of my Heaven and Earth Designs projects. This was an Easter card, also for my nan. My nan's done the framing on this and the other one. This was my first, and until Sapphire Cat, my only attempt on perforated paper. The design came from one of the Joe Verso books. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. Okay. I'm assuming this came from a magazine, which would probably have been Cross Stitcher, Cyclamen in Peaches, which I did for my aunt. Again, she's framed it herself, so it needs redoing. Just gone a little bit rusty there. And lastly, for the old ones, there's a shelf of flower vases. I gave this to my great aunt, my nan's sister, and that came back to me after she passed away at 89. Again, she did the frame, so I've not opened it. I don't want to see what it looks like at the back. And that one was definitely Cross Stitcher magazine. Okay, shall we look at some Heaven and Earth? First one, might have to show this in parts. This is White Magic Story Keep. I believe the artist is Neen Thomas, but I forgot to write it down. This was my first ever Heaven and Earth Designs piece. Actually didn't take me that long to do once I got started with it, because the first ones never do with me. I just get so enthusiastic. I spend every minute of every day doing them. So this one probably took me about 3 months. My uncle framed it, and honestly he actually said it was one of the pieces of framing he was proudest of. My second piece is a quick stitch. This is Fox Sister. Artist is Amy Brown. I just love this little fox. I remember stitching it from the top down. I've got to here, put a progress picture up on my Facebook, and you can guarantee a couple of male friends saying, "Oh, what's below that bit?" Yeah, her dress. So yeah, she's beautiful. Just love the colours in her wings. The swirls in the bodice have come out really well. The bigger picture is gorgeous, but I didn't feel up to trying a full-sized one at that point. Another Neen Thomas. This is Moondragon, another Story Keep. This one took me a bit longer. I did 2/1 on 18 count, and I actually started it twice, as I did with White Magic. I originally started that on 25 count and hated it. Just couldn't deal with it, so I started again. And I did also start this one twice. Again, because fabric. But her tattoos are just amazing. It was framed exactly how I asked for it, but I'm still not sure I like it. I'm not completely happy with it, but I love the design. And finally, for Heaven and Earth, we have Gossamer Princess. The artist is Selena Fennick. I hope that's how I pronounce it. And again, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I think she looks like a girl that I actually used to work with. Framed by my local framer in village just up on the Wirral. In the butterfly there is a single stitch of yellow. That is the only stitch in that colour in the entire piece. The mount is fabulous. I don't know if you can see it, it's actually got that black glossy edge to it, and I love that. It just brings that line about it. So they are my 4 currently framed Heaven and Earth designs. Right, haul, a little bit of this, so we'll see how we go. First off, we have Sleepy Hollow from Glendon Place. I will be stitching this as a start along with the coven. Planned to start 1st of November, but these things can change. So this was actually sent to me by DNA Geek Crafts, because you can't find it for love nor money in Britain at the minute, and the Glendon Place website says they won't ship to the UK, or I think Europe at all, until things are a bit more settled and understood with the customs fees situation. And she also sent me this fabulous little card. I've never seen a Halloween card in the UK. So it says, Halloween is the time to stir up some trouble and leave the toil behind. And can't wait for the Sleepy Hollow sale. So thank you for that, Carrie. That shall go up on the shelf with the rest. I've also had some posts this week from Pole Stitches. So this was the chart that I've received. This is Botanical Garden designer Nora Corbett for Mirabilia. I just think she's absolutely stunning. And I ordered the embellishment pack to go with it. So that's all the beads that are in the design. Now, also from Pole Stitches this week, we've had the magical box. So Pole Stitches do these theme boxes. There've been about 8 or 9 by now, I think, and I've not missed one yet. They're just such fun. So for a while you were getting multiple designers, a couple of smaller pieces of fabric, maybe some threads, but for the last 18 months or so it's been 2 designers, Joan Elliott and Pole Stitches owner Jo Critchley herself. So this week we got the magical box. So we've got gorgeous little witch, the little witching hour. Sorry about the glare. And Jo's contribution is owls. So it says it can be stitched as one picture, but it says a collection of owls ranging in sizes, ideal for cards, tree decorations, bell pull or garland, a must for all owl lovers. As part of the box we also get a couple of pieces of fabric, about 18 inches wide, 27 inches. So this month we've got, I always get 28 count. 28 count is my fallback. So we've got Magic Pumpkin. So peaches, basically shades of peach. And Hocus Pocus. Now this does look blue, either more blue or more purple, depending on the light it's in. But as soon as I saw it, I thought, Jo, you're a genius. So I now have my fabric for Sleepy Hollow. also from Pulse Stitches, a couple of weeks ago now, I received the limited edition pastel duo pack. Now this is actually 32 count, which is a bit unusual for me. Opalescent. So we have Mermaid Tails, which is actually a little bit darker than it's showing it up, and Wisps of Hydrangea. So I don't know if you can see the sparkles. Now, as soon as I saw Botanical Garden, I know it's shown on pink, but wouldn't that be lush? That is just going to look amazing on that fabric. Now, so that's all the haul I've had through the post. However, there is a, not really local, it's about 14 or 15 miles away from me, but there is what I'll have to call my local needlework shop, because it is physically the closest one to me, even though it's in North Wales, and it's called Create Nostalgia. Now, I know Mama Loves You GB, Michelle, mentioned it in her Flosstube a couple of weeks ago, which was one of the things that reminded me that I needed to go. Absolutely lovely place. Sally and Mary were just so welcoming. They knew beforehand that I was going, so I was greeted with, "Hi, is that Jo?" And couldn't have been more helpful. And expensive. So I got almost all my beads for Bellatrix, plus the 2 beads needed for Sleepy Hollow. I'm not going to do those one by one. A bobbin winder and Thread Magic. I've used Thread Heaven for years, and you can't get it for love nor money now, although they did have some, but I thought I'd try the new stuff just for a change. I also bought the recommended frame for the Sapphire Cat. I'm probably going to give this to a friend whose grandson is quite poorly, just to raise for a bit of fundraising. So once the cat is done, it's going in the frame. It was actually cheaper than I thought. I thought it was going to be about £20–25, but it was £50. Now, the important bits. A couple of charts, a few kits. So let's go. This is Just Nan, called Flying Colours. Comes with the embellishments. It's a little butterfly. I just love those colours. So that was my go back and find something else buy. The first thing I picked up, having already seen it on the website the night before, was Purple Pumpkin Patch. Now Sally has requested that I start this very soon because she wants to see it done. We'll see. It's by Denkai Designs, who I hadn't heard of until I spent a good hour and a half browsing their website on Tuesday night. So I think that needs to be done fairly soon. Tiny Modernist, the cat came back. Again, I've never done a Tiny Modernist design before, not knowingly. So it should be a quick stitch. I mean, that's it. That's the size of the booklet. and it uses a whole 7 colours. So that should be a fun little thing to do. Okay, kits. They're all Mill Hill. So I've got some Harvest, Halloween and Christmas. So I've got a little Enchanted Moon. Wendy's Cat, which comes with a magnet, and Boris the Bat, which also comes with a magnet. Don't ask me when I'm going to do these. I have no idea. Not really holiday one way or the other. It's a wizard. I love wizards. Witches, dragons, elves, fairies, all that sort of thing. So, and that comes with all the charms, crescent moon button. So I just thought he'd be a nice evening stitch. And finally, we've got some Christmas. So just a little sapphire opal ornament, a bauble, and celestial sleigh. So they're all on perforated paper, so they're all things that I can do in the evening without my bright light on, because the holes are so easy to see. Okay, another piece of haul I got is this fabulous notebook cover. It did come with the notebook and the pen, so I've got my Flosstube notes. The book does come out, so if you fill the book, you can just replace it with the polka dot inside. There was a craft and gift fair on at a local garden centre last weekend, so I thought, why not? It fits the season. And I've lost my notes. Right, that is all my haul. We've not had any feline visitations this week. Right, plans. To be honest, my plans generally depend on Magical Stitches prompts. I have finished book 3 of the second Percy Jackson series, Mark of Athena. It's a longer book than in the first series. It actually took me a couple of weeks. So now the way Magical Stitches works is you get prompts based on events in the book, and you need to stitch on a whip that fits those prompts. If you can't fit that prompt, they ask that you do penalty stitches, which is the same number of stitches but on your oldest whip. Now my oldest whip was the Fantasy Stitch Along, which I showed you last time. Now it's my Spider's Queen. So that's why she got so much done last week. I mean, 1200 stitches. I needed 1200 stitches just for the Magical Stitches prompts. And I got them done. Well, this week I got them all done in 3 days. That's a lot for me. So then I've switched to the cryptids for the monthly challenges. So really what I'll be stitching next week will depend on what the prompts are that come out tomorrow morning. Hopefully I can do something a little bit more colourful. Hopefully I can get on with more of my spooky stuff. We'll just have to wait and see. So I think that's everything for this week. I'll put some links in that below for various places, create nostalgia pole stitches, and I shall see you next time.